Hi everyone, it's Tess from brightsparksenglish.com and I'm here today to talk to you about house sitting. I said in my last video, cheers everyone by the way, that I would talk to you about our experience of house sitting and also that I would start making videos for digital nomads, teachers, people who can work from wherever they are. And this is one of the key things I think you can do if you are interested in traveling, if you have the freedom to do it, and if, like me, you want to explore the world without paying for your accommodation. That's why, one of the reasons I love doing it, or we love doing it. So let me start first of all by just sharing with you our experience of house sitting and how long we've been doing it. So about 6-7 years ago, I had some friends who actually talked to me for the first time about house sitting. They used to spend months abroad every year. They'd be all over the world, but they used to go back regularly to France, where they would sit in a beautiful house in Provence for about 5 months every year. And they absolutely loved it. And I thought, oh, I like that. But at the time, couldn't do it because I had younger children, they were at school, had animals, and it really wasn't on my radar, but it stayed here. And then maybe 3 years ago, I thought, Paul and I sort of had a chat and thought, well, actually, this is something we'd love to be able to do in the future. So what do we need to do? How do we need to do it? And we started looking into it. I started sitting, did some sits, and we've done 3 this year and we absolutely love it. So we've got quite a lot of experience, well, quite a lot, no, not really, because there are people who've done a lot more than us, but we've now done several sits this summer. We've got a long sit coming up. And so I thought today's video could be all about how you can become a successful house sitter. So let's just break it down. I'm going to talk through, how many points have I got? About 10 or 11 points that I'm going to go through. So first of all, I just wanted to reiterate, why do I love doing it? Why do we love doing it? Well, I would say it's because we can meet amazing people, meet amazing animals, stay in fantastic homes. We don't pay for accommodation. It's a way of discovering the places you are. It's a way for me to discover the UK, because having lived in France for 20 years, I don't know it very well. So we're sitting our way around the UK. It's also a way of getting to know a country or a place in a way a local would. You're not in hotels or Airbnbs, you're really living as or with a community. And often if you're with you're looking after a house and animals for a longer period of time, you're given links to the local community or contact numbers, so you can meet people in the community too. So those are some of the reasons that we love it. And we're looking forward to being able to start sitting abroad. Second thing, people have asked me, well, how long do you need to do it? How long can you sit for? Well, to be honest, it can be overnight. It can be several months, maybe longer. But for us, we've tended to go for minimum of a week, preferably 2 and a bit more, because it gives you the time to get to know the animals, to really have fun, settle in a house and not feel like you're just sort of like, you arrive, you put your suitcase down and then you're going again. So we like at least 2 weeks. And as I said earlier, we're going to be doing a long sit. It will be in the UK. Because of COVID, we've decided we're not going to take a risk for this winter going abroad. And also my daughter's still last year of uni, so we don't want to be too far. But we've got this amazing sit in a beautiful house, and we will be there for about 4 months. We can go back and forth a bit, but that's basically what it is. So you can sit for as long as you want. How do you get those longer sits and how do you get the good sits? Well, this is what this video is mainly about. So if you've never house sat, what I suggest you do, because people don't tend to want to take a risk on somebody who's never done it before, I seriously suggest that you go off and look after friends' houses and animals and then ask them to vouch for you, whether that be in the form of a written letter, an email, or something that they can put on the website that you're registered to. Really helpful. So the next thing you need to do, once you've decided that house sitting is for you, is to choose a website. Now, there are lots out there. We are personally on the biggest one, trustedhousesitters.com, and we have chosen that because it's international, and our goal is to be able to travel the world house sitting. So we wanted to build up our reviews on one website. Having said that, once we start traveling more, we will probably subscribe to websites that are specific to certain areas. So for instance, you have got housesitters.co.uk for the UK. You've got aussiehousitters.com.au if you want to go house sitting in Australia. You've got kiwihousitters.co.nz if you want to house sit in New Zealand. Trusted House Sitters is really good for the UK, Europe and the States and Canada. So if you want to sit in the States, Trusted House Sitters is a pretty good way to start. So those are the sort of sites. The cost of these sites really can vary. Oh yes, and there's another one, Mind My House. That's another one that's quite a popular one, and it's only $20 a year. So it's very, very cheap. I'm going to do a separate video that really breaks down each of these websites, but just talking about trustedhousesitters.co.com, the cost for that one is between $129 to $259 a year, but since June this year, 2021, there's a 3-tier system. We pay for the cheapest one, and actually we bought into it before the price rise, but it's well worth it. You get what you paid for, and there is an enormous amount of sits out there for you to apply to, and it's vetted and verified, and it's probably the best one out there. Now, having chosen your website, the next really, and I mean the most important thing, is to build a good profile. What is it that's going to make you stand out to house owners when they're looking through people's applications? Because that's basically, it's almost like a job application. You should see your profile a bit like your CV. So, you know, you have choose some great photographs first of all, a really lovely one with animals. You know, if there's two of you sitting, for instance, our profile picture is Paul and I and one of the dogs we've looked after, Minpin. I love that dog. And then we have lots of different photographs of our activities, what we like doing, some of the animals we've looked after. And if you can do a variety of animals, then put them in. So we've looked after chickens, goats, dogs, you know, and they've all gone in there, soon can. So you get some great photographs for them to look at, so they get an idea of who you are, what you are. Then the next thing to do is to write a really nice summary of who you are as people, what your goals are, why you want to house sit. I would also really recommend that you put in things that are quite specific. For instance, you may have a lot of experience training dogs. Paul does, fantastic. The owners love it, because if we look after puppies, which we have done, they can say, right, this is what we've been training them. Can you carry on doing it while we're away? And we do. So they love that. If you've also looked after older dogs or infirm dogs, you can put that in. If you're experienced with sitting large houses, you can put that in. If you're, you know, if you've got a green thumb, or green fingers, green thumb, then stick that in, because of course, you know, you can go and look after big gardens, and if they're away, if you do a long sit, then you can offer to look after the garden as well, and the owners will love that. So it's all of these things, just something that really puts you out there. We have, for instance, said that we're very active, we love walking, our, you know, ethos is a tired dog is a happy dog. So to summarize, that part of the profile is very important, because the house owners will look at that, read it, and then they will be comparing your profile with the other people that apply for the sit. So if they can see that you have skills that match their desires in a house sitter, then you've got a far greater chance of getting the sit. Now, once you've done your profile and you're happy with it, check your English. I know this is my teacher element in me. You know, I go over it, tweak it, rewrite it, make it really good, make sure there are no mistakes in it at all. Once you've done that, then I recommend you draft almost like a sort of email, an application email, or something that you use when you're asking to sit or applying to sit for somebody. But just as you would with a job, make sure you tweak it so it is linked to the sit that you want to apply to. So for instance, If you want to go and look after 4 cats, don't start sort of talking about dogs. Or if they, I always mention the name of the animals. I pick out from the description of the sit some of the things that they're looking for and make sure I put those in the email that I'm sending. All these sort of things just show that you pay attention, and for us it's been very successful. So that is the most important thing. Highlight the skills that they're looking for and you have a far greater chance of getting that sit. When you've been applying or you want to start applying for sits, I strongly recommend you look at the ones that have just come on. So I go through sits very, very regularly when we're looking to do one, that is. Go through everything and then you apply as quickly as possible, because the popular sits, the ones that are amazing, I've seen some in Fiji even, the wonderful huge house in the south of France, they have a ton of people apply. So it's really important to get in as quickly as possible. But the other thing, and we had this experience, we got to sit in Cornwall in this beautiful place for 2 weeks on the beach in September, but we ended up not going because they couldn't travel to the state. However, there was about 15 to 20 applications and we applied late. And I said, I'm really sorry that it's a bit late, but I just had to throw a hat into the ring. This is us, blah, 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 blah. Did a really nice email. She got back to us and we also say, actually, and I should have said this earlier, we make it very clear that we are there to work. We work from home and therefore we are with the animals. Now, I don't think it's a great idea to say you want to just be on holiday, because if you're going to the beach for hours on end, you may not be looking after the animals or the house so well. So we've always stressed the work element, and it was interesting for this Cornwall sit because I said that we'd be working from home and therefore, we'd be looking after the animals. And then we get an email from this woman saying, can I just confirm that you're going to be working from home? And I went, this is two things. Either they're worried about us working too much, using electricity, internet, or they want us to be there because they're worried people are going to be going to Cornwall to lie on the beach and not look after the animals. So I said, yes, absolutely, we'll be working from home and therefore we won't be leaving your animals to go and lie on the beach. And we got that sit. And we were late in the application, and as I said, there was about 20 couples applying. So try and read between the lines and think about, put yourself in the situation of the owner. Always a really good idea. Now, something else that we did, because now we've done it, is to consider what sort of houses we want to sit in. Now, Paul and I have a little house. It's not big, but it's beautifully formed. However, I said to Paul, I said, you're going to leave this to me. I've got a strategy here. We want to sit in big houses with land, with animals, preferably with a tennis court and a swimming pool. Why not? You can aim for the stars. Because as we travel the world, we want to be able to get the better sits and the longer sits. And our theory is that by doing this in the UK, so we've been really specific in what we've targeted, by doing this and getting 5-star reviews, because on Trusted House Sitters they leave reviews, and most of these sites they do. So the other owners will see that these are the sort of houses that we've sat in, and they'll go, oh yes, they know that. They can sit big houses, they're responsible, we can trust them, etc., etc. So think about what you would like to do, and then you can sort of filter in the websites the sort of sits you want. So do you want to go into the town? Do you want to do city sits? Do you want to do the country? Do you want to, there are so many out there. But it's quite useful to think about it. Sometimes at the beginning you can just go, don't care, which is sort of what we did, because at the beginning, when you start sitting, you want to get reviews. So in a way, I wouldn't aim for the moon right at the beginning. I would go for those sits that are going to be fairly easy, they're near you, just to get the reviews. And then once you start getting reviews, it's a lot easier. So we've got 5-star reviews, and in the last sort of couple of months now, we've started getting people regularly messaging us, asking us if we'd like to sit for them. We've had people from the States ask. We've had an offer of a house in France for a month, which I couldn't do because I'm going to be embarrassed with my daughter. Shame. And etc., etc. So it's really important to do that, and it's build up those star reviews, but know what you want to do as well. It helps. Now, you've done your profile, you've applied for a sit, they've accepted your application, they've chosen you. What should you do before the sit starts? So personally, I always make sure that at some point we have a conversation on the phone with the owner. I think it's absolutely invaluable because they really want to hear your voice, see how you are, how you respond to them. You can ask questions, so it's really good to have a little list of questions of things that you really want to know. I tend to ask a lot about the animals. Paul tends to ask about the house. He always wants to know where the stopcock is. That's his main thing. What happens if there's a flood? Things like that actually are quite essential. Lots of times the owners are brilliant and they'll leave you a great big wad of paper with lots of instructions. Some are more, some are less organised, so it always helps to have your own questions so you know that you're going in there feeling confident and reassured that you can look after the house and animals perfectly. The other thing that I tend to try and figure out before we go is how we do the changeover, or how, personally I really want to meet the house owners before we sit. Some just will leave keys, or I've heard of that. One person said, oh, COVID, maybe we shouldn't meet. And I said, no, I want to meet you because I much prefer the owner showing us around the house, because they'll remember things or say things that they may not have put in the welcome pack. They can introduce you to the animals, etc. So I really advise trying to meet those owners face to face. Always ask them about communication, because lots of them want good communication. But we always say, do you want us to message you? Yes. Do you want pictures? Yes. How often do you want to hear from us? Etc. So we've sort that out before they leave, so we don't bombard them with messages they don't want. But most owners are very happy to have a little update every day and a photo of the animals to show that everything's fine. And then finally, once we've done that, we ask them about the return. Do they want us to be there when they get back to the house? Some owners do, some don't mind. I think it's a trust thing for some. I think they think, oh, are they going to take anything? Maybe. Or maybe they just want to say thank you face to face. The last that we did, we weren't there when they got back because they were coming in from France and they were arriving late, and we had a 3-hour car journey, so they were fine. We sorted it all out and it was really easy. But we'd said to them, we'd offered to stay there until they touched down, to make sure that there were no problems and that the animals weren't going to be left alone, and they really appreciated that. So all of these little things, reassure the owner and therefore end up with you getting some great reviews. So that really is important to do. Flexibility is good. During the sit, what do you do during the sit? So it's fairly straightforward usually. Look after the dogs, look after the cats, look after the animals. Make sure you give them as many cuddles and as much love as possible. Obviously, animals have different characters. Some of it will take to you very quickly, others take a bit more time. It can be a bit nerve-wracking the first day or so, because you're thinking, oh, I've got to be really careful. At least Paul's far less stressed out about it than me, but I'm always like, oh, should we let the dog off the lead even though the owner said we could, because you think, oh, what if it runs away? So after a couple of days the dogs tend to be fine and I relax and everything else, but it's well worth just sort of bonding with the animals as soon as you can, because that helps hugely for you and for them. Now, one of the really important things that I will mention is to respect the owner's privacy, because we are in their house, but we don't go everywhere. If they say these are our rooms, they're not for you, I don't ever open the door. I do not look, I do not snoop, I do not eat their food or drink or anything. We totally respect the privacy of the owners. If they say, oh, please have what's in the fridge because it'll go off, fine. But wait for them to offer. The other thing is, you never ever ask people to come over and see you while you're sitting. Again, it's their house. Put yourself in their shoes. If you offered your house to somebody and they were saying, oh yeah, come on, party, maybe you wouldn't like it. So it's really important to respect that. And I'm also, and I've had people, our first sit in this massive house, they were really sweet, because I'd said that we had friends in the area, and they said, oh, do invite them over to play tennis, because they had a tennis court. So we did. because we were allowed to. But the other 2 sits, we haven't done that. The long sit, I've already talked to the owner and I said, you know, because it's over Christmas and it's, as I said, 4 months, it's quite a long time. And I said, it's important for us to see our family and friends. And they said, absolutely fine. So as long as the communication is good and the expectations are really clear, usually there's no problem. And last of all, if there's an accident, you have to tell the owners. We're lucky, we've never been in a situation like that, but if you break something or if there's something that goes wrong with one of the animals, it's really important to be very honest straight away. I always make sure we've got the vet's numbers, and also on Trusted House Sitters you have access to calling vets as well if you have any questions. But it's really, really important to make sure communication is very open about that. Now, end of the sit. We've done it all, it's been great, you've loved it, you have to leave. So we have always said to our owners that we will ensure that the house is treated like our own and that it is cleaner than theirs, or cleaner than it was when they left, pretty much. And that's what we do, and we always go above and beyond. We never do just what they ask. We tend to always strip the beds, wash everything. We wash the dogs' beds, you know, Paul's mowed the lawn before. I make sure, you know, we just really try and make it look lovely for them when they get home. I tend to always pick a bunch of flowers. If it's over the winter, I'd probably go out and buy some. Bread, milk, eggs, you know, have them basics for them for when they get home. And that is always a little extra. Again, as a house owner, when you get back, at least you can have eggs on toast if you're hungry and got nothing to eat. So it's really important to do little things like that, so they don't need to do anything when we get there. We also do, actually, one thing we do bring, but this depends on where you're going, we bring our own pillows. I will do a whole video about things like that. We do take our own pillows because we're a bit fussy about pillows. So after the sit, you're home. I wait a couple of days, and then certainly with Trusted House Sitters, what happens is you've got, when your sit's ended, you've got a little button that you can ask for a review. Do not be shy, ask for a review. It's very important because other owners will look at your reviews. Your house owner will then leave a review. They can give you 5 stars for communication, trustworthiness, pet happiness, cleanliness, etc., etc. So we get 5-star reviews, and it's really good. And then you can review the owner as well. So we try to do as nice a review for them, if they deserve it, obviously, as they have done for us. So we always, because it you know, not only does it help us get good sits, but it helps the owners get good sitters if they have good reviews as owners. So it's very much a win-win thing, and you sort of help each other out. And it's been lovely because we've kept in touch with some of our owners, and we get photographs sent to us of their dogs. So it's lovely. Anyway, that's it basically. There's quite a lot of information in there. I'll probably do shorter videos on specific things because there's lots, but I just thought for you, if you're interested in getting out there, get started, this should help. I'm going to put links below for the different sites I mentioned, and for Trusted House Sitters we've got a discount code for you. So if you click on our link below, it will give you 25% discount, and it gives us 1 month free. So it's win-win, and it's great for us. Thank you for doing it. Anyway, hope that's helpful. Lots of comments below as always. Please subscribe and do reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.